Hey everybody, BTO Pro here. Today I'm going to talk about GravCMS and getting web components and HAX set up for it. So if you're not familiar with any of these concepts, you can go to getgrav.org and check out Grav. It's a pretty cool lightweight CMS for building nice little microsites. So you can go into Grav here, you can see you can download plugins and things, much like a Drupal or a WordPress or a Joomla. I can go to plugins and I can search for web components, which is the one we're looking for today. So you can see web components right there. You can download it, put it in your Grav site. So a typical site with Grav, this is a nice little mini portfolio site talking about organization. So this is something you can just download and have, and then it provides, if you get the admin plugin, pretty cool little way of just managing your mini site. Think of it as like a step above, like a Jekyll or whatever, if you're familiar with those static site generators. So I'm going to go, and what we want to do today is get this into it. And so this is called HAX, and HAX, you can go to haxtheweb.org and check it out. HAX is short for headless authoring experience. It's a way of creating and manipulating content that is system agnostic. And so I've been doing a whole lot of videos about this system and what it provides and why this is such a radical departure from the way we previously built and integrated systems. So let's get this into Grav. We've been showing it in Drupal and as a static. Let's get it into Grav. So I made, to get the plugin for HAX, you can see it's currently an issue to get it added to the plugin manager. So you might have to follow these directions, or in the future you might be able to just search in your site and get it that way. So I'm going to go to this first link here. That is the Grav plugin for HAX here. See, Grav HAX plugin talks about how to do it. Eventually this command will work. This install HAX. But I can install the web components module one of two ways. So the way I'm going to do it is via the dashboard, because eventually you'll be able to do it with HAX that way. So I can go to plugins in Grav, you hit add, and then right from the stable plugins I can search for web, and you see it completes the web components. So install web components, and now I've got the web components module. Pretty slick as far as its ability to do that sort of a thing. So the web components module doesn't do much of it doesn't actually do anything on its own. The web components module, if I could type, allows you to leverage web components that you get from webcomponents.org and kind of exposes their definitions to Grav or to any system that it's in. So basically, the idea with a web component is, let's say I had a paper card as a designed element I was looking for, is that you can make these custom HTML tags that are recognized by the browser via polyfills and just part of the browser spec itself as to how to express a custom element. And now whenever I'm designing and laying things out, I can just put down paper-card and I'm going to get this nice little cafe donut demo thing. So that's kind of the idea with web components. So if we have those in, then we can use them. So let's get HAX, and HAX will give us some web components to mess with. So again, because this hasn't gotten through the package manager yet, I'm going to copy the link to here. So basically we have to install the plugin via manual method until it gets in the package manager like web components one. So this is a Grav site, under the hood. I'm going to go into my user folder, and then I'm going to go into plugins. And you see there's that web components module that was downloaded and installed via the front end. I'm going to do a wget, get the zip file, and then I'm going to unzip that zip file, which is at master. All right, and now I'm going to move this Grav thing over to HAX, because that's the name of it. And now we have HAX, okay, as far as the plugin is concerned. In the directions for HAX, though, it says that you need to run some commands to get installed beyond what just a normal install is. So there's this bower.json. You're going to need Bower for this, so you can look up that if you need to. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this bower.json into a folder that I already made. So I kind of cheated a little bit, but you're going to want to make a directory in user called web components. And then in web components, I'm just going to put that there. No such file or directory. All right, let's go back. Web components. Oh, I've already copied it there. That's the problem. Okay, so once you copy that file there, that bower.json, let's look in what bower.json is real quick. It's just a list of dependencies, and it's going to get these from GitHub primarily. And so you see it's getting a whole bunch of stuff, but then it's also getting something called CMS HAX and GravCMS HAX. And so let's get out of that. Okay, and we're going to do Bower install to get Bower and all the dependencies. So what CMS HAX is it's the HAX project and it's custom elements. So HAX is built out of custom elements. It's going to go get those custom elements and then configure them in such a way in its own custom element that it's easier to integrate with content management systems. Then it's going to get a GravCMS-HAX custom element, and it's going to implement it in there. So to see what this just did, we can see it now has made a Bower components directory. And go in Bower components, we see folders that relate to all of the custom elements that we now have. So if I search for GravCMS-HAX, I get a GravCMS-HAX.html. And if we look at what that is real quick, a custom element references other elements, and then it tells the browser, hey, this is a valid tag or DOM module in this case. And then basically, whenever the browser sees this tag, it's going to put this stuff in its place. This is some Polymer conventions, so you have some data wiring. You can do one-way and two-way data binding. And then Polymer is basically kind of a nice little wrapper on calls you can make anyway with the browser to express, hey, when you see GravCMS HAX browser, you have a property called body-value, field-name, and body-offset-left. You have to resolve hyphens versus capital camel case letters with JavaScript HTML. So this is all the things that HTML tag will do. And so now when we put this HTML tag down, we're effectively getting this, is the whole idea with this development methodology. So let's go back. And now I shouldn't need anything in here, to be quite frank. So let's go back to our website, which I have open somewhere. Ah, there we go. Okay. So this is my little Grav site, and I'll refresh, and everything should be fine. We can now see in plugins that I have HAX in there. And so if I click HAX, I can see there's some minor form options that I can tweak as far as offset and whether or not it's turned on. But so at first, when I do this, I really shouldn't see any change. Although if I go to just this path for the front-facing website, I should see the same site. It should look basically the same, and it does. Cool. However, if I view source, we'll see references to all of the web components that Grav was able to self-discover. So when you move into a production environment, you're probably not going to want to have, like, look at all these stinking references. You're not going to want to have all of these for everything. So there are some build processes you can use to build into a single file. This is also an area we could definitely use contributions as to when to turn this on. So maybe a file that says, hey, on my home page, only load these assets, etc. So let's ignore that fact for right now, because once you have the assets, then you're good to go, right? And it'll still load pretty decently. So let's go to admin again. All right, and let's check out HAX, because I have HAX installed. That's the other big piece of this. So under pages, it says there's something called /thank you. So let's go to thank you. There, and so we just have a thank you, your email was sent, and it's in a template file. So if I click thank you, we see your email was sent, thank you. And now, if you're used to using Grav, this should already look weird, because there's supposed to be a little lightweight WYSIWYG editor here. Well, we don't have that now. So what we get instead is this power button, which is the same power button that was over here on this haxtheweb.org site. And so now, if I hit the power button, I get those options. And what I'm manipulating is this area right here. So let's do heading. And now I have a heading that I can work with. And I can add a bunch of headings. I can actually make this a subheading, or we can shift it around. And you notice it's changing the style in real time. So that's what a quote would look like. This is what a code area would look like. This is a code area. Woohoo! So we can, bold text, italicize it. We can make it do right justified, all that fun stuff. We can also dig in and we can iframe some things. So like if I wanted to iframe a website, say btopro.com, then I could have an iframe copy of btopro.com. I don't know why I would iframe that exactly. If I needed to change that link, I could. I'm not going to. I can move that up in the order, or I could duplicate the reference to it, or delete them. Maybe I'll just make that real small. I can go into my Gizmo browser. And so gizmos are a way of allowing content contributors to leverage the capabilities of web components, but to actually provide a form to visualize it. So if I hit Make Gizmo, I want to put in a Wikipedia article. And we get an initial link to a Polymer, an article about Polymer. Let's do GravCMS though. Oh, GravCMS doesn't come up with anything. Well, someone here needs to contribute a GravCMS article. Oh, there we go. Grav is a content management system. I wonder what happens if I just paste that. No. Maybe spaces. So this is querying Wikipedia. Is the important thing. Let's do hockey. I like hockey. All right, so now I'm going to insert that article. Now I have that article in place. I can do some little in-context editing operations. I have to get the styling and position worked out for them, I think. Let's delete that frame to make sure it wasn't influencing it. Move that thing up out of the way. No, okay, so I do have to, there is some style integration that I definitely need to do still. Let's go to Gizmo. Let's throw in a YouTube video because it's much more common. I can just point to a YouTube video and HAX is going to figure out, oh, there's a gizmo for that. So this was the gizmo selected. And now I can work within this, put that down, and now I've got that video. It's automatically responsive because that's what this video tag supports. I can center that video, we'll move it back up near the top because I want this to be the first thing. And we're going to make it 50% width. Okay, now we're going to go back into our gizmos. What I could have done though is I could have made the intentional decision to say I want a video from the video player, and then I would put that down. Another thing you do, there's styled image. So let's find a .jpg. Ooh, that guy. Ugh, that guy. We can add alt text, round that image, turn it into a car, make it boxed, and then you see we've got that, ugh, that guy, look at that guy, look at that. In there. I can make that smaller. Let's float that to the right. Let's duplicate it to see what having a whole bunch of me would look like. Oh, wow. That is too much for the world to handle. So this is kind of the idea with HAX, right? I can just reach out. I can touch and manipulate this item. Obviously, there's still some things to work out with it, but it's getting pretty slick. I'm not going to lie. It's really easy to make new components too. So you're going to start to see this Gizmo library expand pretty rapidly. And one of the most powerful aspects of HAX is that I'm making these components, and the team power in this is called Elms Learning Network. We're based out of Penn State. We're actually a collaboration of a bunch of different colleges here, and so we all have different use cases and needs as far as producing material to go out on the web and represent educational content. So if one of those is, for example, a table, right? A lot of people have data tables that they need to visualize. We could point to a data table and then turn that data table into a table of data very quickly, right? If we have a CSV, we should be able to turn it into a table of data. If it's a molecule, which I don't have in here, but we have some work going on with as far as like 3D molecules and things in our science college, we can make a web component, and then we can expose that web component here so that you can just dump it in. One of these more advanced scenarios is actually, it's not included in that at the moment, but you can see, here we go. I'm going to point to a 3D file. In the Gizmo browser here, this is a 3D player. So I can play a 3D file and move it around if I wouldn't drag and drop and close the thing. can just point to that if it'll discover it. No, I haven't set that part up yet. Okay, so 3D player, let's put that in. Make sure we take out this white space. And then I could say X to Y, maybe -6, and Z -2, and then we can move it out in the plane a bit, right? So pretty ridiculous what I was just doing there, manipulating this HTML tag, all so that we could throw this, dinosaur or monster or whatever it is into the browser. Insert, there we go. And now we have that interaction in here. And I could tweak the width and say that I actually want it to be 1040 or whatever the thing is that we're doing, right? So I can move it up in the document, hit save. So we can engineer these components that work across platforms and provide very sophisticated functionality, but without writing, we're not writing custom Grav plugins to do 3D or custom Drupal modules or whatever it is. We can just write web components, and then we can integrate them into our content via HAX. So now I've got this material in here. Let's say I was actually laying out a pretty decent article instead of all this stuff that I just threw in here real quick. Tweak that to normal text, so it's a paragraph. I need a bunch of paragraphs, text, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so then I'm going to hit the power button, which then I can just look at this, right? I can't make those content operation changes, but now I can click and select and basically play with it, see how it works. Now I'm going to hit save. And when I hit save, you'll see it says, hey, successfully saved. It's got all the material still here. And then in our thank you page, we've got the start of some web components. So clearly I need to add, there's still some rough around the edges here, right? So this didn't pull everything across. Like I think this may have encapsulated this as a paragraph. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, it's still in there. So it's entirely possible that just the template for this thank you file is a little goofy. But yeah, actually I think that is what's going on because it put all of that into a heading tag, which it wasn't supposed to do. But you know what? Let's try and make another page real quick. Let's make a page. Let's just make it stuff, and we'll do a default. I'm not sure what stuff is going to do. Okay, we're gonna just put a bunch of paragraphs into stuff, and then we're gonna save it. Okay, we've got a bunch of paragraphs. So now I should have a path that's stuff. I don't know what template it's going to be. Okay, there we go. All right, so it was actually something wonky with the thank you TPL. So now I should be able to put in a video player again. And then I can save that. Okay, and now my stuff page will have a video player. So, even just right there, right? I was able to pull in a YouTube video, without needing to worry about what the correct embed link was. Something else we're going to be bringing to Grav and all these other platforms that's available currently in the public demo that's headless is under Gizmos. There's actually support for this find something option. So let's say I wanted to find an article or a video about GravCMS. I can just search YouTube directly from inside HAX, and now it's pulled it together. I have it in place, all about Grav. And then we can make this purple because Grav seems to like that color. You can see it automatically adjusted that to be white. Save. Let's make that video small and move it up a little bit. Right, so I can do really sophisticated content interactions and operations, and I can have it very quickly. So now that right there actually just downloaded this file to my local machine, and now I have a file produced with HAX that no longer requires it in order to present itself correctly. This is just a static HTML file, and we're following the same principles as what you saw before. So we go and we import certain things. In the case of this demo, it knows kind of exactly what it's supposed to import, but you get the idea. So that's, in a nutshell, what HAX is, how to get it into Grav. Hopefully it will be available in the package manager soon. If you're interested in contributing to this, just check out hackstheweb.org, hackstheweb.org. And if you actually read this instead of just editing it, it does reference a bunch of different links as to how to get involved and what our repos are. But I'm at BTO Pro on Twitter. Thanks for stopping by.